A very good evening to one and all present, and also all our viewers who are attending this webinar. I would like to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. Subhash Nair, our panel members, participants, and all viewers. We have a wonderful topic before us: teaching and learning styles to enhance competency. First of all, let me enlighten you with the simple meaning of the word competency. It is the capability to apply a set of knowledge, skills, and abilities to successfully perform an important work or task in a defined setting. This evening, I would like to welcome all our speakers who would be sharing with us their views on this topic. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome all our viewers on this platform who will witness an informative session. But before that, before I introduce to you our first speaker, let me set up a few rules for all our participants and viewers so we could have a smooth transitioning for this evening session. Just a couple of them. Only use the Q&A box to post your questions if you have any. And if you have any other comments, please use or post it in the chat box. We will have a separate question and answer session after all the panel members speak. So currently, in the present situation, during our remote teaching and learning process, we use learning strategies and learning styles and tools which help children gain competency skills. I would like to introduce to you this evening our first panelist, Mr. Shihabuddin Pulat, who is a senior vice principal who will throw more light on the learning styles. Now, he holds a Master of Education, a Master of Arts in Political Science, and a Master of Science in Psychology, an educationist with 15 years of experience in teaching and school administration. He has an inspiring influence and is the key source of constant motivation for students and staff. His proven leadership is instrumental in staff and students working as a team. His vision is to provide quality education. Over to you, sir.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much, Mr. Austin, for a nice introduction. Respected Principal Dr. Subhash Nair, panelists of today's discussion, Mr. Darley O'Connor, Mrs. Majabin, Mr. Matthew, teachers of today's conference, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. The wide-ranging impact of COVID-19 pandemic is changing many things, including the way we do school education. We have been forced to rethink. We have been forced to reimagine on the present system of education. So 1 minute, Mr. Austin, there is a technical problem. Just 1 minute. I'm sorry.
Sure, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, okay, my dear teachers, I have displayed here an image of our children. They are exhibiting their beautiful picture after their learning process. I would request you all to have a look at this picture and reflect your thoughts. And you can type on the chat box whatever you think now. Please, I would request everybody to reflect. Just reflect 10 to 15 seconds and type on the chat box, please. Okay, that's fine. Okay, happy kids, innovative and dynamic. Okay, ABL hands-on, wonderful kids, creativity of buds. Oh, wonderful. Missing the nature, environmental day, productivity, children are engaged. Every child is unique. Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful comments. Learning is fun. Okay, thank you, teachers. Thank you. See, we all are highly educated. We are in the process of teaching process. From teacher-centered education, we had a long journey. Now we have landed in the process of competency-based education. Today, I think Mrs. Mahajabi, now one of the panelists, will talk about competency-based education. We had crossed blended learning, art integrated learning, value integrated education, learning outcomes-based education, skills-based education. Today, I would like to talk about learning styles to enhance competency. Okay, before I start discussion about my topic, I would request all my teachers, all the participants, to read this statement which I displayed. Students' preferred learning styles have significant influence on their behavior and learning. You can see, you can go to Mindy Meter, Mindy.com. I have displayed a code 608155, and I will request Mr. Sham, our head teacher ICT, to post that link on the chat box. Then teachers can directly attempt this statement. So what do you think? Whether you agree this statement or not? Yes or no? Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, now 34 participants have replied or given answer. They all agree with this statement that learning styles have significant influence on their behavior and learning. Okay, great. 54. That's great. Okay, 62. Okay, that's fine. Okay, teachers, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, very good. Fine. Okay, today our another point of the discussion is competency. We have to relate learning styles and competency. What exactly learning style? Learning style is, it refers to the preferential okay. It refers to the preferential way in which the student absorbs, processes, comprehends, and retains information. A learning style is a style in which we see or perceive things best and the way in which we process what we have seen. We acquire our learning style by heredity, by our past experiences, by our current working environment. Let us see what exactly competency. Competency is a set of skills, abilities, knowledge that helps an individual to perform a given task in real life. Every learning should go into the imbibing of skills that will help the individual perform tasks or take actions to lead a productive and joyful life. The task could be as simple as going out to buy groceries or a complex as flying a plane. But each of such tasks require a set of skills, abilities, knowledge to be able to perform the task effectively and efficiently. Even if you think about a child, if he wants to go a grocery store, he has to navigate the route, how to reach that grocery store, and he has to list purchase to be made. He has to estimate the expenditure. He has to locate the place in the store, and he has to pay the bill, and he has to match the bill and the purchase materials. All these competencies are required to succeed. All these competencies to be acquired through learning process or schooling. Then only school education would be effective and fruitful. Now let me come to the point. What are the learning styles? The first one, let me talk about naturalist. What exactly naturalist? In our classroom, we have 30 or 25 or 30 or 35 students in the classroom, we can imagine. And we have different types of levels of students having different learning styles. So what exactly these naturalists? So they like to see the environment. They would like to experiment. They enjoy experiencing. One of the examples actually I would like to share with you. In my school, after the assembly of lower class, 1 or 2 or 3 classes, after their assembly, I could see one child was not moving in a line or not going to the class. And I asked him, what happened to you? He told me, sir, I want to see the plans. And immediately he took a measurement tab from his pocket, and he started measuring the growth of the plants. So what I understood that child is very much interested to observe the nature and to learn something. So that kind of people we have in the classroom. And we can see linguistic. They always like to read, listening in an audio recording, and taking notes. We have to address linguistic learners also. Now we can see kinesthetic, hands-on experiences, using their hands to touch and handle in order to understand the concept. But we have to struggle to manage these level of children. Teacher has to arrange game activities in the classroom, or if there is no space in the classrooms to accommodate all students, we can take them out of the classroom, and they need movement in the classroom. Otherwise, they may disturb the class. That we have to understand the requirement of our children. The next one, musical rhythmic. So some people are there, children are there, they like music. If a teacher comes and starts a lesson by singing a song, that is enough. That child will enjoy that day. If a teacher wants to present a PowerPoint on the screen, if there is a background music, a child may enjoy. You might have seen some students, they may actually tap with the pencil on the desk, and teacher may feel it's a distraction of the class, but that child's requirement is music. Even I remember one thing, one of my friends, when I did my Master of Education, Mr. Arun. Now he's a government employee now. So he used to read psychology, other papers, philosophy papers by hearing music. We had doubts what happened to this person. But after the university declared the result, he was the topper in the university. Now he is a government employee, government teacher, government school teacher, and he is managing the entire music of that district, attending all the state level Kaloltsav competitions. So we can see next level of children visually. So some students are there in the classroom, they want to see everything on the screen, or they want to do something in the classroom by looking at. They don't like teacher lecture in the classroom. Logical. So they like mathematics well. They will apply logical. Their aptitude towards logical is too high. Now, interpersonal students also there in the classroom. They need group discussion. They need collaboration in the classroom. And intrapersonal students. That means they prefer learning on their own, enjoy working independently, and they learn best when they are alone. So these are the primary learning styles. Now let me focus on the next level, wider range of learning styles. The first one is innovative. The second one, dynamic. Third, analytic. Fourth, common sense. What exactly innovative? Sorry, dynamic. They are so courageous. They need a challenge, stay busy, vivid imaginations, so creative, insightful, curious, like to explore, like to do their own way. Now we can see what innovative for students, those who have innovative learning style. They are very loving, sociable. They enjoy colorful atmosphere, sympathetic, very supportive. They need to know the reason why. They always ask question to teacher why. Teacher may feel a disturbance, but that is child's requirement, and so sensitive. Next group, next learning style is analytic learning style. So they are very wise, tend to see the trees instead of the forest, take lots of notes, carry calculators with them, overachievers, need recognition for their work, one thing at a time, logical, prefer to work alone. They don't like to be called on if they do not know the answer. Perfectionists and theoretical. Next one, common sense. These children, they tend to see things in black and white, practical and pragmatic, no thought for tomorrow. They love gadgets, so hyperactive, realistic, goal-oriented, impulsive, acting before thinking. They love problem solving, love debates, love to challenge, have no patience for others' opinions. Now we can have a discussion about what kind of classroom, what level of classroom these children require. So that is our responsibility to set a classroom to satisfy different learning styles. Dynamic learning styles, okay, that children require, enjoy case studies. They like case studies in the classroom. And dramatics, producing creative products, assignments requiring originality, do not enjoy seating charts too restrictive, no exploring, assignments without options, they like, and standard routine. The next group is innovative. Enjoy small group interaction. They like mimes. A teacher comes to classroom and initiates a mime in the classroom. That child will enjoy art, brainstorming, role play, team sports, stimulation, using, and whatever they already know and building on it. They like debate. Next group is analytic group. What level of classroom they require? Enjoy programmed instruction. So we have to provide well-organized lectures. They will easily identify whether teacher is ready for the class today or not, because they like well-organized lectures, abstract instruction, competition, demonstrations, objective tests, share facts the students needs to know. Let them build models and concepts. They don't correct them in the class. Do not enjoy role play, open discussion, group projects, etc. The next group is common sense. They enjoy problem solving. They like debates. They like logic problems, independent study to avoid interacting with other students. Experiments. They want to know how things work and practical application in real life. They are sometimes mislabeled hyperactive because of their energy and lack of patience with others. And we may refer them to counselors and we may label them as hyperactive. So, but that is a requirement. Do not enjoy memorizing, reading. Most of the time, they like group work, writing assignments. So these are the situations we have to set for addressing these four levels of learning styles. Now, let me give another task for you. Uh, do you agree with these statements about learning? So I have given in Mindy Meter two statements about learning. You can check this code number 692426. You can go to www.mendy.com. What you did the last time, the same way. I would request Mr. Shyam to post that link on the chat box. Teachers, please. Okay. So what you have to do, you can see one side strongly disagree, another side strongly agree. If you prefer these three statements, every student is different and learn differently. If you agree, you can give 4.5. Suppose if you feel that's okay, I can give 4.5, up to you. Learning is not necessarily an outcome of teaching. Teacher is supposed to teach the way learner likes. Okay, very good. That's great. Okay, fine. So, okay, the second statement, learning is not necessarily an outcome of teaching. Okay, there actually I see most of them have given 3.1 point. But the first statement, every student is different and learn differently. That's my point today. Everyone is different. We have to address everyone in the classroom according to their interest and ability. That's great. Okay, thank you, teachers. Thank you so much. Okay. The next one, what's the role of teacher? That's very important. We are the main people, key. We have key role in the process of learning and teaching. So what is the role of a teacher? Observing. We are supposed to observe every moment. Wherever a child goes out of the classroom, if we observe, we will understand child's taste, child's interest. And we have to question. We have to ask questions in the classroom. We have to listen. We have to listen when they come to us. We have to listen. We have to open our mind. Let them open their mind also. Then they will express their thoughts and ideas. They will express their creativity. And we can communicate each other. When a child comes to us, we should not say that I'm busy, I have to complete my portions, I have to do something. No, let that child is coming to you or coming to me with out of curiosity to know something. So we have to address that. These are the roles of a teacher. Okay, my dear teachers, I have to give last assignment to you. Okay, now I request Mr. Shyam, please post this link on the chat box. Teachers, now you can see I have listed innovative, dynamic, analytic, and common sense learning styles on the screen. So what you are supposed to do, whatever comes to your mind. So you have been teaching children. Okay, you had a lot of experience. Based on your observations, whatever comes to your mind, please reflect here. Innovative, whatever you think. You can add points, okay, under innovative, dynamic, analytic, and common sense. You can just click that plus button, then you can enter, please. Okay, very good. So I see teachers are typing creative, okay, under innovative. That's good. Generative innovation, B, ideas, okay, dynamic, ever changing, fantastic. Okay, right. Okay, that's great. Okay, teachers, please move fast. Okay, energetic, that's good. Dynamic, children are so energetic, ever changing, fantastic, that's good. Analytic, they like problem solving, they're so sharp, keen in learning, logical, oh, fine. So common sense is so practical, market requirements, that's good. Scientific, problem solving, that's good. Observers, exploring, dynamic people are exploring. So the common sense children, they like practical, wonderful. Okay, teachers, Teachers, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fine. Okay. Okay, let me conclude my presentation on learning styles to enhance competency. Teachers, our biggest challenge of a teacher is to plan lessons that inspire our students to stay actively involved in the teaching and learning process. So these are the learning styles and classrooms, such everything applicable not only through the remote learning or physical learning. So both physical classrooms and remote classrooms, we have to practice everything, all the approaches to make learning and teaching process highly effective and enjoyable. This is what Shantiniketan Indian School tagline of the SIS Learn Active Learning Pedagogy. Everyone can learn and achieve high performance. Thank you so much, teachers. Thank you. Over to Mr. Austin.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your views and opinions. Now, in our day-to-day teaching, learning process, we inculcate different styles of teaching and keep students engaged in their classroom with a focus on developing their competency. So I would now like to introduce to you our second panel member, Mr. Matthew Casey, the head teacher for the middle section. He is going to talk to you more on this. Now, he has been in the field of education for more than 2 decades. He holds a degree in philosophy and a master's degree in English with a Bachelor of Education. He has a teaching experience of 28 years and has worked as a senior English teacher in the state of Eritrea in Northeast Africa as part of the United Nations educational program for 6 years. He proved himself as a successful educationist in various capacities, both in India and abroad. His simplicity and dedicated service help him win the hearts of many. His philosophy of life gives more emphasis on values and moral principles, which are gradually disappearing from the modern world. His vision is to be a strong support to the institution in changing the mindset of the new generation, and then provide quality education purely based on values and moral principles. Over to you, Matthew, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Austin. Thank you very much, Mr. Austin, for your wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, my presentation has got some problem. Sorry, just a minute. Just a minute, please. Sorry, let me present once again. I'm sorry. Yes, we confront, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We confront with a lot of challenges in life. Challenges, trials, tribulations, etc. are unavoidable part of life. Our right approach to these would make us competent in life. The present COVID-19 pandemic situation is a vivid example for an unforeseen challenge the whole world faces. Even in this hard time, we didn't put ourselves in chain. Instead, we rose up with more vigor and willpower, and that resulted in virtual learning. What are the challenges in the teaching learning styles now? Let me start with a beautiful thought by John Dewey, a famous American philosopher. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. It's a beautiful thought by an American philosopher, pragmatic philosopher. Let me move on to the next quotation by a famous Chinese philosopher. His name is Confucius. So from the quote, I have given it as the title, I do and I understand. And the complete quote is, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. So from the last sentence, it is very well understood how much importance is given to experiential learning. When the children are given chance for experiential learning, they will become competent and also they will really enjoy the process of learning. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, so we will not be doing justice to our process. Let us see the change in the teaching style from the ancient time to the modern. So if we analyze the transition from the ancient time to the modern time, so in the beginning, it was teacher-centered education, and now it is pupil-centered. So we are all teachers, and we very well understand how the process has taken a different step coming to the modern age. So now everybody speak of student-centered education. There is a clear transition. Let me go to the next presentation, the slide that I have. Teachers should create a suitable environment for learning. So here in this slide, we can very well see there are different pictures given. On the left side top corner, there is a picture which shows a guru is sitting and disciples are around him. That is speaking about the ancient time. And again, if we analyze other pictures that are given in this, you will very well understand that there is a lot of change that have taken place coming to the modern age. So even we can have some sort of relation to the Gurukula system also in some of these pictures. So that way, the system of, the teaching styles have changed over the years. We should create situations for our children or opportunities and new avenues to be opened to engage themselves in the process of learning. The style of teaching should also be modified to meet the requirements of the learner. Now, I come to the 5 factors that influence our teaching style. So before I go to the 5 factors, let me make a slight difference or make a clarity about the teaching styles and the teaching method. Teaching styles are the way in which teachers manage their classroom and deliver content. We can see a lot of similarities, but teaching methods depend on the preference of the teacher, the needs of students, and the subject. So there are differences, at the same time there are similarities as well. Which is the best teaching style to achieve our target? Everyone has got his or her own style, and no style can be taken as 100% perfect. The reason is we are dealing with individuals who have got immense potentialities. So when we are dealing with individuals having immense potentialities, we need to look into each and every one and their abilities, their skills. So now let me come to this point, the various factors that influence our teaching style. First, let me look at career stage factors. I have taken only 5 factors, but there are more than this. When it comes to career stage factors, we have exploration and commitment. The teacher should have the mentality to explore more and more, and the research mentality should be there, and commitment to the career. So these are essential for creating or having a very good teaching style. Then we go to the next one, that is curriculum factors. When we speak about curriculum factors, nature of subject and teaching method, whichever subject that you are taking or whichever subject that we engage with, at the same time, the teaching method that we involve in that. they have a lot of influence on the teaching style that we are having. Then it comes to knowledge factors. So under knowledge factors, we are having content knowledge and pedagogical content. So here, what we should understand is the teacher should have in-depth knowledge in the content. He or she should be thorough with the subject that he or she is dealing with. And the skill-based teaching should also be practiced and also developed. And we come to the professional factors. So when we come one by one, we understand that all these have got variations, and also all these are in one way or other enhancing and also influencing our teaching style. So professional factors. When it comes to professional factors, we have professionalism and professional identity. So if anybody asks me which is the best profession in this world, I would surely say, and I strongly believe, that teaching profession is the best profession in the world. And if you take any personality in this world or anybody who is in any position in the world, he or she will have some story to say about his or her teachers. The reason is the teacher has got a very good influence on the students, and a teacher should be highly professional, and the professional identity should always be maintained. There is nobody who is at least once influenced, who is not at least once influenced by a teacher. So this also is a necessary or an essential factor for having a good teaching style. Then the personal factors. When it comes to personal factors, I have given here only emotional stability and observation skill. So we can very well understand, you are all teachers, we are all teachers, we are engaging our students. Ever so many years we have been doing the same thing. At the same time, we can very well understand which moment that we lost our emotional control. If it happened in any time in front of a child, that's a serious mistake. We should never lose our temper. We should have proper emotional stability. A person who does not have emotional stability is not fit for a teacher post. And observation skill. Why should we need observation skill? We need observation skill because we need to guide and direct our students. And we are the ones who are motivating them, and also who are directing them, guiding them. For all these cases, we need observation skill. So in all these aspects, we come to know very well that all these factors are in one way or other influencing our teaching style. So now I would like to request all of you to go to the Mindy Meter link. So here the link is given, and the code is, you can go to mindy.co, and the code is 391691. I request Mr. Shyam to make this link available in the chat box. So all of you are requested to go to the mindy.com and then feed this code 391691. And here what you are supposed to do is rank the factors based on their influence on teaching styles. So 1 to 5 as the highest to the lowest. Please do that. Yeah. Yes, coming. Yeah. So curriculum factors is coming higher now. Then professional factors. Okay, let me see. Okay, please. Yes, teachers, please add. Yeah, fine. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Oh, that is wonderful. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Yes. So now also the curriculum factors coming on the top and the highest influence, and the knowledge factors, career factors, professional factors, personal factors. Okay, wonderful. Okay. So what we need to remember is we have all these factors simultaneously influencing our teaching style in varying degrees. When we make a close analysis, we can identify a few commonly used teaching styles. So far we have been discussing, okay, now we can come to the next slide. So far we have been discussing about the factors that were influencing our teaching style. Now, what I am going to do is the central part of my session, that is the teaching styles. So when it comes to teaching styles, I have identified 5 here: authority or lecture style, the demonstrator or coach style, the facilitator or activity style, the delegator or group style. So first let me touch on the authority or lecture style. The authority model is teacher-centered and frequently entails lengthy lecture sessions or one-way presentations. Students are expected to take notes or absorb information. Then we come to the next one, that is the demonstrator or coach style. The demonstrator or coach style retains the formal authority role by showing students what they need to know. So here again, they are retaining that formal authority style. And then the demonstrator is a lot like the lecturer, but there is a difference. Their lessons include multimedia presentations, activities, and demonstrations. So that is a difference between the first and the second. When we come to the second, so there are certain level where children will be able to engage themselves in the process. And then we come to the third one, the facilitator or activity style. When it comes to the facilitator, that facilitator, the word itself will echo some other thoughts in our mind, because in the modern time, everybody is saying about a teacher as a facilitator. The teacher's role is only as a facilitator. Are we doing justice to that? Okay, as a facilitator, and the facilitator promotes self-learning and helps students develop critical thinking skills. So it's a great work that is being done by the facilitator. So he enhances self-learning and helps for critical thinking skills and retain knowledge that leads to self-actualization. Then we come to the delegator or group style. When it comes to the delegator or group style, the delegator style is best suited for curricula that require lab activities such as chemistry and biology, or subjects that warrant peer feedback, like debate and creative writing. Then the next one, or the fifth one that I have given here, is the hybrid or blended style. The hybrid or blended style, I have given that in the center. I am sure you all will understand, and also you will guess immediately why this is given in the center, because that much importance is given to that. And also the title given is the hybrid or blended style, that is self-explanatory. A blend of teaching styles that incorporate facilitator, delegator, demonstrator, and lecture techniques helps the broadest range of students acquire in-depth knowledge and mastery of given subjects. So these 5 teaching styles, when we analyze it, you may have, each one will have his or her own way of looking at it. All may not be having the same opinion, which one is more important, which one is less important. But all will have a comprehensive idea about when we come to this fifth one. Okay, based on this, I request all of you to go once again. These are the 5 styles which I already said. And now I request all of you to go once again to the Mindy Meter, and there the code is given 875214. I request Mr. Sham to provide this link also in the chat box. Yes, the question is, which style of teaching is the best according to you? There could be variations, but at the same time, according to you, which one you prefer as the best style? Okay, please do that. Yeah. Yes. Yes, we have got 64 people. Okay. Please, teachers, please do it. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So we are all using these styles, and we are well aware of the different styles that we are using in our teaching profession. Okay. So now we have 42, 43 as hybrid, 22, 28 as facilitator, and 3 as the demonstrator style. This is why I said there could be variations, and I am not saying that this is right or the other one is wrong. So every answer is correct, and we cannot have any wrong answer. It all depends upon the way that we manage it in our classroom situation. Okay, I'm going or proceeding to the next part. That is, today's ideal teaching style is more of a hybrid approach that blends the best of everything a teacher has to offer. Even when I say that, I'm not saying that is the only way, and there is variation. That is why I said there will be variations. Then all of us, when developing our teaching styles, should keep in mind the following requirements. So I have given here the requirements. See, I gave it as I must have. What are the things I should have? Okay, sorry. Yeah, I must have effective classroom management skills. Everybody knows that is a compulsory or it's a must. And then lesson mastery. Yes, sure. Without lesson mastery, we won't be able to proceed with. And positive expectations. And the teacher should be always positive, and teachers should have always optimistic approach. So all these have to be there in our mind all the time. But apart from these, there are so many other things or requirements that we can think of. So what I want just now from you all, is effective classroom management skills. We are all teachers. Now I request all of you to put some of the tips that we can use for improving the classroom management. So please use the chat box and put in the chat box the classroom management that are possible for us to improve, or some tips that we can have it. I request all of you to put in the chat box some of the tips that we can use for improving classroom management. Yes, please. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let me proceed further. The most important thing that we all should bear in mind is that there is no style that is perfect in itself and suitable for all learners. In a class of 25 or 30 students, ideally, we deal with individuals, not the group as a whole. So this is a very important point that we all should bear in mind. So we should always have in our mind, we are addressing individuals, not the class as a whole. So when we prepare or get set with the teaching style, we should have this point in our mind. In that case, we will be able to modify our teaching styles. Therefore, never think of designing a single frame to accommodate all the students of the class. It is not possible. But at the same time, there may be a question, then how is it possible to have a teaching style? There, what I would suggest is, see, we can have some general idea. Based on the general idea, we will be proceeding and we will be preparing the teaching style. At the same time, we should have that inclusion of or the inclusive education policy. So we should not leave out anybody from our framework. We should have a proper framework in which we should be able to include everyone. Our dedication, hard work, timely intervention, and guidance, etc., are all instrumental in actualizing their potentials or potentialities and attaining competency. Let us try our level best through whichever style it is possible to make them fit and thus to keep pace with the fast moving world and face all its challenges. We are actually undergoing a very difficult situation now. Even in this situation, we have found out solution how to proceed with. This is what that made us competent. The same way we should create a situation for our children or environment for our children in any sort of difficult situations. They should be able to cope up with the situation, and that way they should be competent. Our teaching styles and our programs, plans, everything should be directed towards achieving or attaining that competency. If your style can ignite the imagination and instill a love for learning in your students, competency is within your reach. So competency is not a difficult task. It is a simple thing, provided we are intelligent enough to have a proper framework and to have a proper teaching style. So whatever is available from around the world, we should be able to absorb and then incorporate in our procedure. That would help us to have a proper teaching style, and again, whenever it is required, we will be able to modify it. As per the requirement of the learner, we should be able to, or we should be ready to modify. That flexibility should be there. In that case, we will be achieving the target that we want, and our teaching style also can be a successful one. With this, I would like to conclude my session, and also with a beautiful thought given by Rudyard Kipling, a famous English essayist and poet. The thought or the quote goes like this: past is gone, future is uncertain. Act in the living present. So thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patient hearing. And over to Mr. Austin.
Thank you so much, Matthew, sir, for sharing your views and opinions. Moving on, a key characteristic of competency-based learning is its focus on mastery. So I would now like to introduce to you our third speaker for this evening, Mrs. Mehjabeen Hassan, who is a senior head teacher for the pre-primary section. She is a successful educationist with 17 years of exemplary service at Shantiniketan Indian School. She has sophisticated communication and interpersonal skills to engage and inspire children, parents, staff, and teachers. She provides the most effective leadership and the best learning opportunities, who is very flexible and open to changes. She creates the right conditions for children and staff to achieve their best and has a firm foundation in understanding, teaching, and learning. Aspiring to lead a happy, productive team that feels respected and looked after, and who adopts a pleasant and positive approach, rooted in firmness and transparency, with a personal touch that recognizes and respects individual difference. A very passionate visionary with a clear sense of moral purpose, and provides a vibrant environment where enthusiasm and creativity are encouraged, leading to outstanding results. Over to you, Majabin ma'am.
Thank you, Austin sir, for your amazing introductions. You have truly enlivened my spirits. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. A pleasant evening to one and all. Competence and capability is a strong combination. In education, it's everything. Competency is your skill, your ability in a specific field. It is more than just knowledge and skill. There's lots of discussion lately about how to better engage students in their learning. One powerful strategy is CBL, competency-based learning. It's all about learning culture, learning environment, deeper learning, and partners in learning. What exactly is CBL? Come on, teachers. I want you to write your answers in the chat box. Yes? Go ahead. Your opinion about CBL, competency-based learning. Yes, that's great. Good answers. I really enjoy the answers I'm getting. Yes, competency, it's a demonstrated ability. A key characteristic of CBL is mastery of skills. Mastery of skills, right, teachers? Well, CBL organizes learning around the students' interests, needs, backgrounds, and aspirations. It provides authentic assessment of students' progress through demonstrations and illustrations, which establishes students' mastery of the subject. CBL moves from time being constant to learning being constant. It offers transparency not only to students, to teachers and parents. Both teachers and students have clear objectives. Furthermore, parents can also be kept in the loop about the students' progress. Competency-based approach is learner-centered. That's very important. What do you think, teachers? It should be. Our education should be learner-centered. It is skill-based. It is self-paced, engaging, and flexible. It provides opportunities for each individual to develop skills at their own pace, collaborate with others, collect evidences of learning, and become a successful lifelong learner. Why? Why should we adopt CBL? Well, the answers are very simple and clear. For increased students' engagement, one of the strongest outcome of CBL is increased students' engagement. For clear, tangible learning outcomes. For greater personalization. For qualitative, inclusive, and holistic education, as the progress is based on mastery of skills and concepts. As I already told you, teachers, the strongest learning outcome of CBL is increased student engagement. That is a real testimony to indicate that CBL is the need of the hour. CBL provides opportunities for student-driven, practical learning environment and successfully engages students in their learning. They are empowered because they have control over when, where, and how they learn. Well, coming to the benefits of CBL. Competency-based programs are very flexible. As I have already told, they are very flexible as the structure depends upon the individual learner. Self-paced, the focus of CBL is on the final outcome and not on the journey. It helps to identify opportunities to target interventions, very careful interventions to meet the specific learning needs of children. It provides greater efficiency and increased productivity with a balanced use of technology. Most importantly, it is skill-based and opens multiple pathways to graduation. CBSE board has dedicated this academic session 2021 for competency-based learning, a great initiative by CBSE to make education competency-based. Believe me, teachers, 21st century students deserve access to an education that prepares them to succeed outside the classroom, outside the school, beyond the content, beyond the curriculum, in an environment of genuine freedom and profound joy. The student is evaluated on the individual competency and can only move on to other competencies after they have mastered the current skill being learned. At SIS, what do we do, teachers? At SIS, we provide meaningful and joyful learning experiences to our students by adopting a variety of innovative and active teaching strategies like SIS Active Learn with a tagline, everyone can learn and achieve high performance. Dr. Subhas B. Nair, a pedagogical leader, an amazing reformer who encouraged and inspired us to step forward with this initiative. He is the foundational head of some of the best teaching practices like SIS 3G approach, delightful teachers, SIS building blocks for effective learning, 6A's approach. Today, I stand tall, beaming with pride, to proclaim that we have already conceptualized and integrated CBL to empower our children on mastery of valuable skills and knowledge. Standardized skill assessment. Our teachers have developed well-defined learning outcomes for every grade that are observable and measurable. They track the attainment of learning outcomes by each learner and ensure that no child is left behind. Let's take another step to empower our children towards self-driven learning. Integrate building blocks for effective learning. Facilitate the thought process. How do we do that? By integrating open-ended questions in our lessons. By building on the questioning skills. By integrating how, why, when, WH questions. Facilitate the thought process. Let them think, rethink, reflect, and refine. Let us develop observable and measurable learning outcomes. Start your own learning revolution with transformational teaching. The key aspects are active learning, collaboration, persistence. Transformational teaching is based on the idea that purpose is greater than the delivery of information. As students build the connections between classroom skills and their own world, they are more likely to remember the content they have discussed. Inquiry-based learning, project-based learning are all forms of transformational education. Start your own learning revolution by adopting the key aspects for sparking competencies. Let us trigger and enhance the competency of our children. Let us engage children through a wide range of activities and learning experience in a safe yet a joyful learning environment. Identify opportunities and allow children to work in their own way according to their own pace. Provide students the time and help they need to reach the standards at one level before advancing to the next level. Most importantly, teachers, a genuine advice: reduce teacher stock. Reduce teacher stock time to boost children's involvement. Let them get actively involved. Let them interact. Let them question. Elicit more of student stock. Now, as teachers, as facilitators, as guides, as mentors, what's our role? Let's play our role with excellence. Build the intended competencies. Let's be more resourceful, creative, and innovative. Strive hard to accomplish the set learning objectives. Let's be lifelong learners. Let us excel in academic standards. And I'm pretty sure all my teachers will do that. Let us provide extended learning opportunities that will help our children to open up the world of ideas. Show enthusiasm, affection, encourage, and equip children with suitable tools to express their ideas and feelings. Create some special moments for our children to participate, to share, to interact, and ask questions and collaborate. Encourage creative exploration and independence to foster self-discipline, concentration, and self-help. See, how would you would love to see our children excited, enjoying, exploring, anticipating, right, teachers? Integrate lessons with thought-provoking questions. Inspire them to think, imagine, reflect, and refine. Get each child engaged and immersed by integrating the content into their own interests and address challenges that they are facing in their daily life. Let them emerge as a winner. Explore students' performance through data analytics. Help children master competencies connected to the standards with clear, transferable learning objectives. Provide a personalized learning experience that challenges and supports our children. Engage families in the learning process and encourage students to take ownership over their own education and learning. Build the competency continuously, keeping in view the changing needs and interests of the learners. Find out what motivates them and use it to create engaging learning experiences. You can even tap into their inspirations and get them excited by the whole learning process. Thus, analysis-based intervention is required to enhance their achievement level. Mindful interventions can bring a paradigm shift in our teaching styles. Remember, teachers, interventions, mindfulness is very important. Let us lead the change and bring in innovation. Let's commit to equity and inclusion. Let's evaluate our quality and go for further improvement. Let us nurture the blooming buds to propel and excel with creativity, confidence, and competence. Let's cultivate the love for learning, love for learners, love for innovation. Let's be the best. Let's be the delightful teachers. Thank you, dear teachers. I want you to leave this live session with the pledge that you will practice all the effective strategies to develop the intended competencies in our blooming buds. Thank you. Have a great day. Over to you, Austin.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful words and for your ideas. Um, Educational approaches develop the capacities that support learners in succeeding in life through inside and outside the classroom experiences and school environment, keeping in mind the 3Gs and 6As approach, which will further be explained by our Vice Principal, Mr. Dudley O'Connor. So let me introduce him to you. He started his career at a very young age in St. Thomas's Church School, Howrah, in the year 1987. And since the beginning of his career, there has been no dearth to his contribution to education and the child. The epicenter of his passion is children, with a focus on innovation and creativity. He is dynamic, respected teaching professional, inspirational mentor, consistent, respected for setting and maintaining high standards and instilling confidence in students to succeed. He is enriched with international training sessions, workshops, and seminars, and contributed as a resource person for the promotion of education and encouraging latest ideas and techniques to assist teachers to be abreast with the changing trends and demands of the present generation. His values are based on experience and spiritual path of different kinds of experiences. It is this very experiences that has encouraged and allowed him to dedicate untiringly for the cause of humanity. Building blocks of effective learning has been one of his contributions towards the teaching learning process. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Austin, and a very good evening to all the members present on this platform. I feel pleasured, privileged, and humbled to be before you on such a large scale where we can share a lot about education. Today, I am going to be sharing a lot with you about the approaches of education and the impact of education on our lives. I'm going to be concentrating on the past, the present, and the future. So I'm going to introduce with this quote: the past influences our present and determines our future. Why? I'm going to give you a simple example. When we were kids, it was mandatory for us to carry our handkerchiefs in our pockets when we went out. Handkerchiefs or kerchiefs, whatever you may call it, in our pockets before we went out. Just in case we got a cold or we sneezed or we messed up our hands or washed our hands, we needed to wipe our hands or whatever. Even though we would use spoons and forks, we needed to wash our hands before we went to the dining table. It was compulsory, it was mandatory. And as children, in the morning before we would go to school, we would have a good bath, be fresh, go to school, come back, have another bath after we've come back from school, have our lunch, rest, then go out in the evenings to play, come back, have another bath, then sit and do our studies, then again go and wash our hands, have our dinner, and into bed. My dear teachers, it's taken COVID-19 to remind us of our hygiene. All that we learned in the past, all that we imbibed in the past had turned a myth. And today we're walking around with masks instead of kerchiefs in our pocket. Just on the brighter side, just to be on the brighter side, How many of you have your kerchiefs in your pocket right now? No. Why I am referring to this is that when we do get back to our physical state in school, I would request all teachers to create a habit for students to carry their kerchiefs or their handkerchiefs in their pocket, to carry their napkins with them along with their tiffin boxes and their water bottles, and to constantly wash their hands at every opportunity they get. It's just something I needed to share with you. Now I'm going to come into my presentation. Competency. Basically, what is competency? Mr. Austin had shared earlier. And believe me, every child is competent. Why? Look what goes on in the child's mind. What, where, when, which, who, why, how. All these kind of thoughts, all these questions are constantly going on in the mind of the child. So that in itself is competency, for them to think, for them to question themselves, for them to wonder. And what we as teachers need to do, encourage them to think, to solve that what, encourage them to imagine, support them in making analysis of that why question, help them to create, construct, reconstruct, break up and redo, to summarize the complete situation, and to make an evaluation of their outcome, the answers that come to the questions that they have in their mind. Now, a little reflections on our previous or the educators that we learnt about in our B.Ed. That was a learning process for us, but just for us to get reminded about what we were doing earlier during the process of preparing ourselves to be teachers, we learned about Maria Montessori. Her approach was child-centric. This I'm going through very fast. Frederick Frobel, playway method. John Dewey, he believed in experiential learning. Rabindranath Tagore, heuristic. William Kilpatrick, project-based. Piaget, the cognitive development. Gandhi, and of course his non-violence and peaceful approach, and of course the blooms that Mr. Shahabuddin shared, as well as the multi-intelligence, the various learning styles of children shared by Mr. Howard Gardner and Mr. Shahabuddin had shared with along with Mr. Matthew. Now, what is the need of the hour? What is our focus area right now? This is what we need to look at to inculcate in children. These are things we need to build now in children. Tolerance, mindfulness, self-awareness, responsibility. In their own little ways, responsibility, respect, not so much for their elders. It is there because they learn that in school, but to respect the little things they receive from their parents and to appreciate those little things so that they do not demand what their friends have and create a little stress for their parents, even though their parents may not be able to afford it. The adaptability to adjust to various situations. Information processing, imagine this. Information is all around, it's all over us. At the click of a button, we get information aglow, whatever information we need. The problem here is the child able to process the information that the child needs and to use it to his or her advantage? It's very important. Decision making, are children able to make decisions or are they influenced by their peers? Sensitivity, this is something that is imbibed in them. They get oversensitive sometimes. And so as teachers, we need to be a little careful with this area of sensitivity by not being oversensitive ourselves. We need to concentrate on assisting children, facilitating them, helping them to learn, learning to learn, not by you teaching them and by them, learning up questions and answers and giving it back to you. We don't want that. We want children to be independent learners, self-driven learners, where they learn to learn on their own and they celebrate that knowledge during their own learning process. Those were the focus areas. Now I'm going to talk about the reasoning. Now, keeping in mind these focus areas and the two types of reasonings that we have, the inductive, we all know about this. It's working with probabilities. It's developing a perception with limited material, the textbooks and the textbooks alone. Limited scope and inaccurate influences. It does not expose the child with, various opportunities to explore, to experience, to experiment, to ask further questions except what is written at the back of the book. It influences perception and task approach. Perceptions are narrowed down to a single track road. It doesn't allow children to expand in their task approach. And the task approach is fill in the blanks, question answers, true and false, match the following. And that's the way it goes practically for all lessons. Amazingly, the deductive method is also with us. And this includes observations. It includes breaking down information. It encourages conflict and asking questions, a lot of questions. Applying, after asking questions, you apply. Now, this is what I want to concentrate on, this deductive reasoning and the inductive reasoning. What happens is with this kind of an approach, teachers focus on delivering content and material rather than concentrating on the learning skills of children. It's very important. This is through observations and it is clear. Teachers, we need to be aware of this. We need to consider the learning skills of children more than just delivering of content. And on this remote platform, there are so many advantages for you to use your Google Slides, to use various quizzes. You've got your e-learning portal. You've got so many opportunities to extend on the deductive method. Now look at these expressions. This is a physical classroom. Okay, just look at them. I'm giving you 1 minute to think about them. Okay, just look at that. Oof. Teacher, please stop. That means, now see, these are unconscious moves of children. It may have gone unnoticed by us teachers, but this involves a lot of thought from our side. Look at that child with the hand on the head. Oh my goodness, is this maths period? Or is this science period? Or is this the social science period? The child that is thinking up there with her hand over here is wondering why the teacher is only asking her questions when there are 29 other children in the class. Why only me? And over here, this child again that is doing shoe in an unconscious way, most probably is doing that show is because she's tired of listening to the teacher and very silently she's doing show, not boldly because she knows she'll definitely, be, what should I say, corrected or advised for not for being rude or mean. But sometimes we unconsciously create these kind of situations for children. So let us think of moving a student from being knowledgeable to knowledge abled, knowledgeable to knowledge abled. And instead of them being meaning seekers, let's make them meaning makers. Because why should they ask the teacher, teacher, what is the meaning of this? If I do this, what will happen? If I do that, what will happen? Let them understand through their experience that, oh my goodness, if I do this, this is going to happen. Okay, let them be the meaning makers. Let them make meaning of their own lives through the experiences that we give them, through the platforms of where they are allowed to, investigate, explore, ask questions, and so on. Now I'm going to move on This is just one poster. This is the 4C approach. Actually, I've got this here because I want you to see the poster and this little child over here. I'll be talking about that later. But let me just quickly go through the 4C approach. The 4C approach involves critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Now, I'm going to pick certain words from here. See, it empowers the children to question constantly, ask questions, discover, and it helps them to separate facts from opinion. Facts and opinion. Opinion and facts, which develops self-driven learning. We are wanting our children to be independent self-learners. We want them to be self-driven learners. We want them to, learn to learn. Let's look at this, the creativity influence. Okay, it embraces children with their inner strengths, from planning to meticulous organizing. See, look at this, from planning right down to meticulous organizing. How organized are our children? How can our children organize themselves? It's so important, which of course cumulates to engagement and productivity. They get engaged. We're talking about keeping our children engaged, get their minds thinking, and that is very productive in nature. Collaboration, we all know it builds on the social skills of children. Not only that, it also helps in conflicts. Children have conflicts when they're collaborating. And at this early stage, if they're able to deal with their conflicts, once they grow up and move out of school, they will be able to deal with even serious, bigger conflicts in life. And this is how they address problems. They pitch in solutions, because when you're in a conflict, you need to address that problem. And when you're addressing that problem, you need to pitch in solutions and decide the best course of action. That is why I had put decision making earlier. Our children need to be good decision makers rather than being influenced. And finally, communication. We know that communication very clearly goes with perception. If you say something, somebody else is thinking of what you are saying, maybe in a different way, not in the way you're trying to express yourself. So it is important to be very clear with what you say. See, communication, the process of sharing ideas clearly. Now, of course, we have technology, that is your WhatsApps, your Instagram, and so on and so forth, to help you to communicate instantly. But we must remember that communication evolves around discussions, which promotes collaboration. I'm talking about a school atmosphere, further encouraging creativity based on critical thinking. It's a process in itself. Now, to move on, I'm going to come to this active teach and this active learn, the processing of information, where every child can learn and perform. Senior Vice Principal Mr. Shahabuddin had shared that with you. The tagline of our school, our active teach and our active learn, is every child can learn and perform. Now, I am going through this process because I am going to lead you into a wonderful package. And this is the prerequisite for that package that I'm going to share with you, the 3Gs after this. So what is the prerequisite? What is it that we need to have? What is it that we need to think about? What is it that we need to know? Let's have a look. The 3G approach, which I'm going to go into now after this, the prerequisite is, you know what, it creates opportunities. It's going to create opportunities. It encourages thinking. The 3G approach, every child can learn and perform, where equity, inclusion, as well as personalized guidance is the key factors for all these things. Problem solving, it creates flexibility, equity, I just said, personalization, explore and discover, critical and creative curiosity, experiment and experience. It introspects controversies, it's very important. Contradicts and asks questions. Research through technology, we have it available with us. Acknowledge and appreciate. Differentiate. Persevere and preserve. imagine, and wonder. Now, in your process, these are some prerequisites which I am going to take you to, where every child can learn and every child can perform and achieve. These are the prerequisites for that. I'm going to take you to this. This is an approach. Teachers of Shantiniketan, you fully well know the person responsible for this approach is Dr. Subhash Nair. There is no doubt about that because of his long-term experience and his involvement with children and his love for children. Now, this 3G approach, we need to involve the emotions of the children. This is a package which has 3 stages, and I'm going to share all 3 stages with you. Okay. Now, for this 3G approach, I had the privilege of representing and presenting this at the Teaching Learning Forum in Qatar over here itself. It was a lovely opportunity for me to know more about this approach. So I'm going to share it with you. We know about it, but let's look at it in a more intensive way. Okay. And for that, I have written down some notes here because I don't want to leave out anything. I don't want to do injustice to this. So I have made notes. Because from the top of my head, if I say something, I may just miss out on something. So I don't want to miss out on anything. So I'll be referring a little bit to the little notes that I've made based on my observations and based on my representations of this 3G approach. Now, the 3G approach involves being genuine, generous, and generative. Genuine in what way? Genuine in being self-aware, self-awareness. Generous means what? Hard work. Now we move from hard work to smart work, faster work, from hard to smart. And generative is the innovations that we create. Now, again, you look at this poster and you see, I will be sharing something with you about these posters. Look at those little children there. Now, this 3G approach, okay, this is what we need to think about. Teachers of different levels in this approach, teachers of different levels are encouraged to have structured conversations without expecting answers and accepting the fact that one does not know everything. One does not know everything. Methods based on the 3G approach to teaching prove to be more effective for students' achievement and cognitive development. The methods. Okay. When you look at being self-aware, okay, bringing about that awareness in the classroom, getting children to do some nice smart work for you, as well as their innovations. Now, the second part to this package I'll be sharing with you. However, let's look at the methods. What are the methods? Children learn to ask questions. They embrace uncertainty, which is very, very important. Okay. They share increased self-awareness. They give and receive feedback. It's not only giving, it's also receiving feedback from the teacher. Extend open-mindedness, creates more space for thinking. Acknowledge rational skills. It enhances effective communication because children are more exposed. It builds listening and observation sensitivity to listen, to observe. That sensitivity it builds on. Linking positive attitudes and discovering leadership skills. All these methods are with this 3G. Now, what activities? The activities, what do the activities involved with this does? It's very clear there on the stage, on the screen over there. It provides opportunities for metacognition, collaboration, differentiation, resilience, innovation, and creativity. Resilience means to get up and move on even if you fall, to be able to face situations. So this is the approach. Now, with this approach comes the building blocks for effective learning. They are both coupled together, intertwined. Okay, now what is the building blocks for effective learning? Look at this. That is the approach with the method. This is the teacher and the teacher's attitude towards children. Affection. My dear teachers, all children are looking for it. Affection. Okay. Now, what is basically affection? It's building a relationship between the teacher and the taught. That means the teacher and the student. First of all, once you allow the children to know that you care for them, that you love them, that they are important, that platform of affection takes you into feeling accepted. It's automatic. Once you feel that somebody is showing affection towards you, it automatically makes you feel accepted. Oh my goodness, I am accepted. My teacher loves me. I am accepted. So this is providing a joyful experience. Children feel good when they're accepted. Oh, they're at the top of the world. My teacher loves me. They feel accepted. They go home and they tell their parents, my teacher said this, my teacher said that. Parent will even try and convince them, but try and do it this way. They will say, sorry, my teacher said this. Why? Because they feel accepted. They will not listen to what the style the parent asks them to do as some, they will listen to what the way the teacher says it. And attention, once the child feels accepted, the child knows that the teacher's attention is drawn towards the child. Personalization is taking place here as well. Children feel the need for learning. Why? Because my teacher loves me, my teacher accepts me for the way I am, and now I am ready. My teacher pays attention to me, my teacher listens to me, and it creates a platform for learning. Now, this is where we can take advantage. Teachers can take advantage here. This is it. Once that happens, the attention is gained, the acceptance is there, and the affection takes place. We have the attribute which provides appropriate learning experience where actual learning takes place because the child feels good, the child feels strong, the child feels secure. Security is a very important to him. The child feels loved. So now the teacher takes great advantage of this and creates that platform for learning. And once that learning takes place, remember, once the child loves you and the child knows that you love the child learns. The child only wants to maintain that love that you have for that child. That child never wants to lose your love. The child wants to maintain that love, and so learning takes place with the child. And when that takes place, the child feels attained. Attainment happens because the child feels the joy of learning. Oh my goodness, I know this answer, teacher, I know this answer. Yes, and the child gets more excited and goes home and wants to do more and enjoys doing more. Why? Because the child does not want to lose the affection of the teacher. The child does not want to not be accepted. The child wants the attention of the teacher. The child gets involved in learning, and there you go, the child starts attaining. And once the child starts attaining, you have the positive reinforcement, that's the accolades, where the child feels the need of achievement and feels motivated to learn more. My dear teachers, it's very important. The three G's and this are coupled together. Remember one thing, in my experience of so many years of teaching, if you win the heart of your child, 99% of your apprehensions, 99% of your troubles are over. 99% of your troubles are over. The student will never fail you. The student will want to do more and more and more and more for you. And you will have a joyful learning environment. You will have a joyful classroom. You will have such a beautiful atmosphere and such a result-oriented group of children that you have with you. Now, with this, now, it doesn't end there. This is one package, the 3G approach, that means the methods. Then we have the style, the teacher's acceptance, the love, the emotional part of it. And now we come to what the teacher is all about. Okay? The teacher needs to be inviting, innovative, intuitive, disruptive, engaging, enabling, and memorable. Inviting in what sense? Again, if you look at the 6A's and the 3G approach, the children feel loved, accepted, affection, and so it creates a very great first impression for the child. And from there, experiments with new ways of doing things, because again, that acceptance, that love, that attention is there, innovation takes place, intuitiveness takes place. Then of course, I said reimagine, imagine, construct, reconstruct, break up, do things again, controversies, answer those questions, deal with it. And thereafter that, you have children getting engaged in dealing with that, which helps children to continue to add value. When they engage, they continue to add value, which helps them to be enabling. Okay, and then further, they have a very memorable experience. Now, keeping that in mind, again, look at these children on the screen over here. I'm going to tell you something at the end of this presentation. This is the sum up of the three G's: the approach, the emotions of the teacher and the student, the 6 A's, as we call it, the building blocks for effective learning, the emotions, okay, the approach, the emotions, and the methods. One package. For those teachers that are not staff members that are present here today as guests, I would love you to take this package and try it out with your children, because we have experimented it and it has been extremely successful. I come back to this little girl. Look at her. What is the teacher's role when we're dealing with all these approaches? Okay, it's very simple. What are we looking at? What is our objective? What is behind our minds? We need to inspire, wonder, and create. Help children, inspire children, create that wonder effect, okay, and help children to create. Let them wonder, disrupt and repurpose. Help them to break things up and let them put it back together. Okay. In their minds, the thoughts in their minds. We strengthen persistency. We challenge competencies over here with this approach. We challenge their competencies. It doesn't stay at where, what, why, how, when, the W questions. It goes into further investigations. It goes into further explorations. It goes into further experiences. It goes into further experiments. Okay. It helps to increase the attention span. And finally, again, look at this slide here. This is what we need to be teachers. And not only us being this, we need to inculcate this in our children, because all human beings have this in them. It is all embedded in them. All we have to do is surface it. All we need to do is surface it. We are born with these attributes. We just need to surface it by being an example. How? Being unique, exciting, open, strong, accepting, happy, true, helpful, remarkable, gentle, successful, different, polite, consistent, reliable, genuine, authentic, that's being true, confident, caring, amazing, determined, organized, calm, and but it goes on and on and on. Not to the end. Now, I've come to the end of my presentation, but I'm going to tell you about the posters. I kept telling you, look at these little posters. You know what? These children on my screen over here, this is an innovation again. See, the 3G approach, this is one of the innovations of our school. Posters around in open areas with little children on it. Now you won't believe what outcome we have received from this posters all over the school. These little children, I remember telling our principal, you see, these little children will be the school leaders in the future. And believe it or not, these little children are presently in class 3. They feel so responsible. Their result outcome is very good. They, every time they go and look at that poster, they feel responsible, and they really feel that, you know, the whole school is looking at them. And it makes them feel so different. And it has actually encouraged a great scope for learning and for them bettering themselves. And this is what we have done with various posters around the school in open areas, this where children can see it, and it has helped the children greatly to be a little more responsible, to be a little more aware of themselves, and to feel good about themselves. It's like an accolade. That is an innovation of ours. Then the e-learning portal is another innovation. Then our SIS Learn is another innovation. All this comes through the 3G process, self-awareness. Type in the chat box the second G, please. I'm not going to say it. Let me hear it from you. What is the second G? Generous hard work, or generous smart work, and finally, generative innovation. Thank you very much. Over to Mr. Austin.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views. Now we will move into the question answer session. And I would once again like to remind all our viewers present here this evening that you can post your questions in the Q&A box. All right. Uh, I would like to. When our head teacher, the Mr. Matthew was giving his talk, a question that came up in my mind. Uh, I would like to ask him a particular question. Mr. Matthew, sir, how can we assess the impact of our teaching styles on our students?
Okay, Mr. Austin, let me try to answer for that question. So the impact of our teaching style is actually the competency level that is achieved by our students. So we can do it by analyzing certain aspects like the students' engagement or level of engagement, interaction, or their motivation, the ability to learn independently, etc. Through tests or through interviews or through feedback, all these would help us to understand to what extent they have achieved the target that we set, or to what extent they have reached the competency level. So this would help us to identify and also help us how far they have achieved competency level. And also, it is not that easy to identify and find out the complete or the perfect level of competency, but that would help us through these different methods to what extent they have, or this impact is there on their achieving competency. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. All right. I would like to ask a question to our senior vice principal, Shiabuddin sir. So you were talking about learning styles and strategies. So what is the difference between learning strategies and learning styles?
Okay, Mr. Austin, that's a good question. See, learning style, I have already explained. Actually, it is a way in which the student absorbs and retains information. So, I already explained what are the learning styles. But learning strategy is different from learning style. Learning strategy, it's an individual's approach to complete a task. As an example, if a child wants to participate 100-meter race, so when he is in the starting point, he has strategy to reach the goal, to reach the destination. He has to move fast from the beginning to the end. But same child participates 800-meter race. So he has to start slow, then he has to increase his speed. This is his strategy to attain his goal. The same way, learners also will have a strategy to attain their objectives or their goal. These are the difference between learning style and learning strategy. I think it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for answering that question. Coming over to Majapin ma'am, our senior head teacher, she was talking about competency-based learning, CBL. So, ma'am, I would like to ask you one particular question.
Yes.
What are the basic steps to articulate competency-based learning in the most effective manner?
Thank you for the question, Austin. Well, teachers, let me suggest there is 4 simple yet effective steps that you can take for smooth transition of CBL. First and foremost is practice radical transparency. Be clear about what skills, what content, what knowledge you want your students to work with. Be consistent with your language. Use them in your instructions, and you can reflect on your rubrics as well. Then second important step is make time and space for reassessment. Reassessment is not giving students endless opportunities to retake a particular assessment until they are happy with the outcome. It is just improving their skills. It is how pushing the students to revisit a given learning outcome. Reassessment is about creating opportunities for students to demonstrate that they have improved, they have acquired a skill, and they have learned. Then the third important step is let too much content become just enough choice. This I have been telling in my presentation also, that the teacher's talk time should be reduced. Every teacher faces the reality of trying to fit in too much of curriculum into too little time. So allow students, give them the freedom for more choice, and personalization than what we have in our traditional models. And the fourth important step is embrace reflections, self-assessments, and goal setting. Believe me, teachers, self-assessment as a mechanism ensures that students are internalizing and acting on the feedback. I think I have reached to my teachers. Thank you. Thank you, Austin. Over to you.
Thank you so much for answering that question, ma'am. All right. Coming to our last speaker who had spoken, our Vice Principal, Dudley, sir. Sir, I have a question. So the question is, teachers' role as teachers that are promoting education and parents in collaboration with teachers. How best could we make it more effective, sir?
Okay, there are two parts to that question, Mr. Austin, the teacher's role and parents' collaboration. Right. Now, teaching as a profession. Okay, let's think about this. And I'm going to give you a quote, a very simple quote. We grow in the image of those whom we love. Okay. Now, teachers, when they are with children, it's not just about giving lessons. It's not just about completing syllabus. It's not just about telling them what to do. It's not just about seeing that they don't fall and getting hurt. It's more than that, Mr. Austin. It's far more than that. Okay, because remember, we grow in the image of those whom we love. The children, when they're at home, they have, what should I say, imitating their parents, or when they come to school, they love their teacher, they feel so good about their teacher, they want to copy their teacher. They even see some of the children, if you go home, I remember my sisters when we were in school, they would come and put lipstick. And when they were asked, my teacher wears lipstick like this, so they wanted to do so. Okay. Now, what happens is a teacher needs to do more in the sense that give their heart and their soul. It's priceless. Once you do that, Mr. Austin, you're able to give your complete soul to children. I know in my experience, I love being with children. It, in fact, helps you to be more motivated. It encourages you to do more for children. You always feel spirited, even though by the years, 12 months make 1 year and you grow years older. But believe me, you stay as young as ever in your spirit. You feel motivated. So a teacher, once you give up your soul to your children, you will never grow old spiritually. Okay. Number two, yes, to answer your second part of your question, the parent and the teacher relationship. I am going to, to use a metaphor over here or a simile. You've all traveled by train, correct? You've seen the two railway tracks. Chuk, 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 chuk. The two railway tracks. Okay. Now, if you look at them, they are both parallel in nature, set parallel from the beginning of your journey to the end of your journey. Okay. Now, besides the train tracks there, you see the buffers between the two train tracks that keep the train tracks at that equal distance, the buffers there. Okay. That actually helps to cushion the train journey when you're going. Now, let's look at the parent as one track and the child as another. Okay. Now, these tracks also have little plates to keep them safe and secure. And you've heard of railway accidents. If one plate goes out of place or if one plate is loose, the train derails and there is disaster. So now both parent and teacher need to be absolutely strong, having the same views, because remember, for the teacher, if the teacher is giving the soul, her primary object and only objective is the child. Okay, and the parent's only objective and object of love is the child. So both of them are going parallel in nature. Thought process is parallel. They love is parallel. Everything is parallel. Okay, in nature. So one cannot afford to get loose, because if one does, there is going to be definitely a derailment. So this has to be constant and strong. And as I said about those bumpers, they're like cushions. Imagine our children with us for 13 years. It's not like going from Howrah to Chennai or from Coimbatore to Chennai or whatever, or from Bombay to Delhi. It's not like that. It's a 13-year journey. And those buffers are the various approaches we use to make the journey very comfortable for the child. 13 years of the child's life. I know, as old as I am, give me an opportunity to go on that train. I would love to go on that train. You know why? I feel as if I'm cradled at night. And I have a lovely sleep. Oh, it's so awesome. Why can't we give our children, both parents and teachers together, that same feeling? Okay, I think I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering that question. All right. Coming back, I have one more question for our senior vice principal, Shihab, sir. Sir, you were talking about the styles, right? So when we are teaching children, how do we identify students' learning styles?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Austin. See, how can we identify learning styles in the classroom? See, a teacher comes to the classroom and applies various techniques, strategies, approaches, or methods in the classroom. Teacher has to observe the entire session, entire class. Then teacher will understand the approach, attitude of a group of children or individual, attitude of that child towards particular lesson or teacher. So tomorrow teacher comes with another technique or another strategy. Teacher can observe attitude of children towards that particular strategy applied in the classroom. So one tool is observation. Teacher has to observe every day their movement, the way they walk, the way they communicate, the way they actually listen. Everything can be observed. The second one, a teacher can administer a questionnaire. So many questionnaires are available in the market of education. Many psychologists already released. So they can apply various questionnaires in the classroom. They can have case study. They can have a survey. They can have an interview in the classroom. So these are the techniques to identify learning styles in the classroom. Okay, thank you, Mr. Austin.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for answering. All right. So I now have uh, our panel members, a few panel members. I think we see Juveria ma'am available here. Ma'am, if you could switch on your camera, and I think she has a question. So if you could switch on your camera and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. Actually, the same question you already asked to the Shamdin, sir. How we can identify the learners or students. I got the answer. Thank you for that.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so then we have even Nazia Salim. Nazia, ma'am, if you could, I think you have a question as well.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My question goes to Mr. Matthew here. Sir, you spoke of 5 different teaching styles, the authoritative, the demonstrator, facilitator, delegator, and hybrid. But what would you advise, or rather, which style do you consider the best for ensuring the competency amongst the kids?
Okay, Naseem, ma'am, thank you so much for your question. So I would suggest the hybrid or the blended teaching style. So at the same time, that is not the only style that we can have. So depending upon the standard of students, their IQ level, or depending upon the competency level of students. So there are different factors that are to be looked into. And based on that, see, even if we take this fifth style or the hybrid style or the blended style, there could be incorporating, I mean, other styles also can be incorporated based on the requirement. So we have to be well aware of the students in our hand. So accordingly, we should be able to manage or have the style for the teaching. And see, now at present, we are under COVID pandemic situation. So we have to think about the remote teaching platform as well. So when it comes to physical classroom, there could be different variations in the styles. So in the remote teaching platform, we have got a plethora of digital tools to use. So many of us were not using these tools, but now we can very well understand at this remote learning platform. So what we can do is we have a lot of digital tools that we can use it, and also we can increase that competency level by engaging them, and also by having interaction with them, and also by using different types of games also in the using the digital tools. All these will help us to make them into the real learning process, and also that would increase their competency level. I think I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nazia, ma'am, and thank you, Matthew, sir. I think Varalakshmi ma'am is also waiting to ask her question. Ma'am, if you could unmute and ask your question, please.
One and all. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sirs. And my question is, what is the difference between a skill and competency?
Thank you for the question, Swara Lakshmi. Well, let me make it very clear. Competencies are much broader than skills. Skills are specific to a particular task, while competency will incorporate a set of skills with abilities and knowledge. Skills are just one of these three facets, only one of these three facets, whereas competency has the other two also, like knowledge, abilities. So in simple words, competency refers to how well someone can do something, whereas a skill is usually something you can learn, you can improve through practice. Did you get me?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Now I can say Mr. Austin is a competent moderator. Hats off to you, sir. You are doing a great job. I hope I have made myself clear. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Varalakshmi ma'am. All right. I think Samina ma'am is also waiting to ask her question. Samina ma'am, you can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. A very good evening to all of you. I would like to ask a question to Vice Principal Deadly, sir. Sir, is there any magic rule for the young learners to improve learning habits or styles and to make the learning process itself rewarding for them?
Miss Samina, please look at me. You are the magic. Look at the 6 A's: affection, attention, attributes. Once you have gained the child's love, the child's attention, and the child feels loved by you, there you have completed the magic. You have the magic wand. The child will go home and enjoy everything the child is doing because the child knows you love the child. The child knows the child has got your attention, because the first thing the child will do is, even before you go to your classroom, will stop you in the corridor and say, Miss Amina, I've completed your assignment, no matter how difficult it has been. So that is the magic. And teachers, please know, you are the magic. When you give your souls to children, okay, you are the magic. I think I've answered that question. It's so simple. Thank you very much for that question. I loved it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Amina ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So if you all have any more further questions, you can type it in the Q&A box. Our viewers. All right. So if we don't have any more further questions, then I'm going to go and send you a particular link in the chat box. You can all check your chat box. The link is going to come up right now. Just give me a minute. Now, this is the link to a Mindy Meter simple question. Okay, go ahead and start giving in your votes. And in the meantime, when this is taking place, I would like to now invite our beloved principal, Dr. Subhash Nair, to share his views and to speak a few words, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We had a wonderful session, a great discussion. Thank you, Mr. Austin, Mr. Shabdin, Mr. Matthew, Mrs. Majabin, and Mr. Dudley. You were all wonderful. And I can see the competency of my educational leaders, the section heads, improved much more. They are not the same section heads they were in March 2020. Within these 3 months, their competencies improved. This difficult situation helped them to improve. And I need to salute all the teachers. This is the right time to appreciate their hard work. The teachers were very conscious in improving their competency because their challenges increased. When they started teaching in the remote learning platform, they were learning more, they're working hard, And they experimented with various tools to make their teaching effective and to help children learn better remotely. And as we discussed today, even though these topics were learned earlier by all the teachers during their teachers training time, and this revision is actually because teaching is not just curriculum transaction. It's not teaching certain concepts or some topics. Teaching involves much more than that. So we understood it through the session. We should have a nurturing approach. Our children should be nurtured. And Mr. Dudley said it so very well. Affection, acceptance, and attention. These aspects are the basic building blocks for effective learning. And if these aspects are present in the process, the learning will become definitely very effective, no doubt. And we have been understanding it more and more as we talk, as we teach. Since most of the listeners are teachers, I'm giving you the assurance that teachers learn by teaching. We grow by sharing ideas. We grow much more by collaborating. So today, these resource persons, our educational leaders of Shantiniketan Indian School, collaborated in this platform to bring to you some wonderful thoughts to strengthen your ability to nurture children better. So we don't miss any opportunity to learn more. And this was yet another opportunity. I accept this was a lengthier session, but I could see most of the participants still staying till the end. So that shows the significance of the program. And this was the first experiment by Shantiniketan Indian School to have such a webinar for teachers all over. And I should appreciate and congratulate the team for this successful program. Well done, team. It was wonderful. And it was very nice listening to you. You were sharing your views with a lot of passion. And the intention is to bring teachers on this platform for bettering their competency, to improve their teaching, to better the competencies of their children. So when their children grow up, they grow up with a set of skills, values, abilities, and rich knowledge base so that their competencies are very high. And they will be able to deal with any situation they face in their life. And that's school education all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very much constant motivation and support and your good words. And I would like to take a moment to thank all my dear panel members for sharing their valuable views, ideas, and opinions, and making this session, a very, very informative one. Thank you to all our participants, our viewers, for also taking their valuable time and being actively involved in this session. So, our dear panelists, you can even say a goodbye, as we would like to end the session.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Sleep well.
Bye, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
vacation.
Have a great time.
Thank you for being part of this program. Thank you, Ms. Major Bean, Senior Vice Principal, for giving us this opportunity.